guys, Miss Nikki here, back again. This is for that Eureka Hive K through 5 little stuff we're doing. This is called an Earth Parfait is what we're trying to do here. So it's got some fairly simple ingredients that most all of you should have around the house. It's just a neat little thing to kind of make. You see how theirs looked. I cannot guarantee that mine will look like that. That little picture, yeah. But it might be close, so we'll see. I'm gonna stir, so as for the rubbing alcohol, just like 1 tablespoon and put some food coloring in it. I already kind of had it going, I'm just mixing it up a little bit. So I have the directions here. Again, it came from a book that you can check out from here. It's one of our STEAM collections. Really cool, fun book. So I've done this a couple times, but I still have to, you gotta look and make sure you do all of the stuff in order. So we're gonna start off with the dish soap. And I may make a mess, but I guess that's part of the fun, right? All right. And then it called for the water to have blue food coloring, but I thought we already have blue, so I'm using green. Just because. You pour this in next. So you just have to kind of gently do it on the side. So we'll see how cool this is gonna look. Alright, so it's just mixing just a tiny bit, but I think that's looking pretty good. Alright, now we got the vegetable oil. So we're going to do this. And actually, I think it calls for a whole cup. So, but I think, is it? Yep, we'll go ahead and we'll do some more. I usually try to have stuff prepared and prepped, but I just had a half a cup, but it works, right? Again, just try to go slow and on the side there. Oh, and I'm making a mess. There we go. Wow. It worked just fine the first time. All right. What are we seeing here? Oh, wow. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, I think we probably could have just stuck with a half a cup, but that's okay. That's all right. And then all we do is we already have, I prepped this like I said, your rubbing alcohol. Of course, it has a googly eye on it. I mean, how can it not? Got that there. All right, let's see if we can do this. See how cool this is gonna look. Ooh, and I made more of a mess. Oh, wow. Yep. It's all down the side. That's fine. It comes off. Look at that. We're going to leave that sit for a minute maybe. And then we'll read a little bit of a book, okay? Hi guys. So I found this book and I think the cover is what got me. It just looked really neat. I've been kind of on a kick about hot air balloons. I really want to go check one out. So it just looked really cool. So it's called Sylvie and the Songman by Tim Binding. And don't worry, I rinsed my hands. I'm not getting any of this food coloring on the book. All right, chapter 1. Tiger, tiger, burning bright, in the forest of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? Sylvie recited the poem along with the rest of the class. It was the last lesson of the day. George was sitting next to her, trying to kick her legs. Their form teacher, Miss Coates, stood in front of them, her eyes scanning the room for anybody who hadn't yet learned it properly. The first lines of the poem seemed straightforward enough, the tiger with his bright shining eyes prowling through the jungle, but she couldn't get her head around the second half too well. Immortal hand, what did that mean? And symmetry? She'd never even heard of that word, but despite it all, it did make a sort of sense. This fabulous beast, with his great rippling body and huge padded paws. She and Dad had been to the zoo the Sunday before last. The zoo was down by the coast, with large pens for the animals that ran down to the marshes. Beyond lay the sea and the abandoned lighthouse that always seemed shrouded in mist. It had been a strange day. All the animals had seemed on edge, running back and forth in their compounds, calling to one another in shrill, agitated voices. All except one, the solitary tiger. He lay stretched out on the ground, his great head on the packed earth as if he was listening to something far away. His cage was set back, a fenced-off no-man's land in between him and the path. He was lying near the bars. Sylvia had stood as close as possible, drawn to his immense size, his frightening weight, the strange, unsettling quietness of him. I wonder what he's thinking, she had said. A man once wrote, "If a tiger could talk, we wouldn't understand a word he said," Dad told her. Sylvie frowned. "I don't get it." What he meant was that the tigers don't see the world as we see it. No animal does. If the tiger could paint you a picture of how the world looked to him, you wouldn't recognize it. How we talk, well, that's a way of describing our world. A tall tree, a brown cow, a red sky. So if a tiger could speak, he would not describe what we saw, but what he saw. It would sound as strange to us as if he was an alien from outer space. Do you understand? Sylvia nodded her head, but she didn't really. Yet looking at the tiger that day, she had an inkling of what her father had meant. What lay behind those eyes? What went on in that great head? When he looked at her, what did he see? A 13-year-old girl with long fair hair, thin and strong and small for her age? A friend, a foe, a snack in between meals? As if in answer to her silent questions, the tiger had raised his immense head and stared back, first at her hands, then straight into her eyes. She could feel his presence boring into her. It was almost as if he was trying to tell her something. Then without warning, he bared his teeth, and throwing his head back, he gave a huge roar, a wild animal sound, fit for an untamed forest, standing proud on the point of a craggy rock. Not hemmed in on a patch of arid ground in a corner of Kent. She stood back ashamed. George kicked her legs again. A sharp voice broke in front of the class. "Sylvie, did you hear what I said?" "What?" She jumped back to the present, still thinking about that day. She was completely lost. The class murmured, "Trouble ahead." Oh man, I think I might have to finish this one. That sounds really neat. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks.